Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with an update for gun owners nationwide, red states and blue states. You have to hear this. U.S. Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat from Arizona, should be more like commie from Arizona, has filed what could be the worst gun control bill in American history just last week. The bill has no bill number yet. It's that new. It's called the GoSAFE Act. Now, anytime a radical Democrat names his pet gun control bill, you know the bill does the exact opposite of what the name would suggest. So far from being about safety, the GoSafe Act should be named the Disarm America Act. This bill is far more comprehensive than the garden variety assault weapons bans the Democrats have been filing for the last 30 years, both in Congress and in state capitals. If you're pressed for time, guys, whatever else you do, hit the link below and sign your petition so your senators know you're 100% opposed to the GoSafe Act or any other bill that confiscates our firearms. If you have a little more time, I want to explain to you in detail a significant shift that's underway right now in terms of messaging and tactics from today's Democrats. 30 plus years ago, when Bill Clinton passed the assault weapons ban the first time, the Democrats knew back then they had coined a powerful political phrase. The idea of the assault weapon, it even made some gun owners of that era recoil in horror. There were gun owners who said, well, no one needs a scary black rifle. We had gun owners who said, nobody needs a 30-round magazine. And many of them were defensive about the Second Amendment because back in those days, many gun owners believed that for the most part, we have a Second Amendment for sport shooting, for hunting, maybe for some self-defense. They were defensive about the real use of the Second Amendment. In fact, gun owners were so cowed by this phrase back in the 90s that 8 Republican senators voted for Clinton's assault weapons ban, even from red states today, like Indiana and Kansas and others. And so that was a problem because we as gun owners, our forefathers, our grandparents, whatever you want to call it, bought into that verbiage. But those days are over now. Today, as gun owners, know the real facts. We have the Second Amendment for one reason. It's not about hunting. It's not about target shooting. And it's not even about self-defense. Those are all enjoyable aspects of it. But we have a Second Amendment given to us by our founders and ultimately by God for defense against tyranny. That is why we have the Second Amendment. And that's why we need to have firearms worthy of that task. Now, the tyranny that we all felt, admittedly somewhat low-grade tyranny perhaps, during COVID, during the lockdowns, having businesses forcibly closed, all of that gave Americans a new realization as to just how close we could be in our own country, not across the ocean, but right here at home with our own government going tyrannical. You take that, you add in Biden's open declaration of war against gun rights for 4 years in the White House, and there's a lot of gun owners now who are seeing the Second Amendment in perhaps a different way. So these more current generations of gun owners, us, you, me, we don't think like they did in 1994. And we have spent 20 plus years as gun owners crushing the careers of politicians who vote for any version of a assault weapons ban. So that's a big shift. It went from being a good phrase for the Democrats to use to now we know as gun owners, anybody who supports that needs to be rooted out at election time, and hundreds of lawmakers across the country, whether it's in Congress and in state capitals, have been crushed and defeated at election time because they supported so-called assault weapons bans. So that brings us to where we are today with the GoSafe Act. You see, the Democrats have now officially discarded using the phrase assault weapons ban. You will rarely ever hear that again. And when you do, it's going to be from newer politicians or not serious politicians, from people who are perhaps new to trying to take away our guns. The real players in this game are moving away from that phrase. You're not going to hear it again. The reason for it is very simple. They want to lull gun owners to sleep because using the name assault weapons ban has galvanized us in a way that few other phrases ever have in the gun rights community. And they also, of course, want to protect Democrat lawmakers who otherwise don't want to vote for this stuff. So that's a major messaging change in the gun control space from today's Democrats, I want you guys to be aware of. But there's also been a change in terms of the tactics regarding the bills that they're filing. We saw this just last month in Colorado, and we're seeing this now with the GoSAFE Act in Congress. These bills are actually, well, they have this innocent sounding name. They're far more comprehensive. They ban far more firearms than a garden variety assault weapons ban ever did. The old version of an assault weapons ban applied to gas-operated semi-automatic rifles with a detachable magazine that had one or more of the following, things like a collapsible stock or a pistol brace or a flash suppressor. It had to be a combination of features. But today's bill, the GoSAFE Act from Mark Kelly, and again, what became law in Colorado just a couple weeks ago, it bans the purchase of all gas-operated semi-automatic firearms with a detachable magazine. There is no more need to have one or two of the following characteristics. If the firearm is gas-operated, like your AR-15, if it has semi-automatic functionality and it has a detachable magazine, that would be banned under the bills that are being passed into law today. Now, Colorado has a carve-out. If you get a special permit, you can still buy one of these for the time being. But the GoSafe Act does not have this. It is a straight-up attempt to leave Americans armed with antiques and lever-action rifles and bolt-action guns, basically turning America into Australia, where all we would have would be antiques and hunting firearms. But it goes far beyond just that. It also, of course, bans so-called high-capacity magazines. You could not buy any more of them. Caps us at 10 rounds capacity. It also creates a specifically named list of banned firearms. And once this list is in place, the next time some criminal uses a gun not on the list for a mass casualty situation, the Democrats will then open up the bill and they'll add a whole bunch more guns onto that list. It also prohibits transferring these firearms with almost no exceptions. So you can't sell it. You can't give it away to a hunting buddy. The only option you have is to give it to the government or give it to your kids if they want your firearms. Otherwise, these guns die with you. And that's their goal. They want to generationally disarm the American people. The bill also criminalizes homemade firearms. You call them whatever you want, 80% lowers. There's lots of phrases for this. The reason is very simple. These people are commies. They want to track, trace, and register every gun we have. And guns that are made at home that do not have a serial number cannot be tracked by the radical left. That's why they hate homemade firearms. This bill criminalizes all of that. And lastly, the GoSafe Act, falsely named, from Mark Kelly, bans gun manufacturers from introducing new gun designs on the market unless the ATF signs off on the design. And you know why they're doing this, of course. Every time these little commies pass a gun control bill in a state capital, gun manufacturers make a workaround, usually 6 months later, that give gun owners some of the same functionality while being in compliance with the law. This aspect of the GoSafe Act would preclude that altogether. So today's Democrats basically have a very simple tactic. We're going to use more innocent sounding bill names, but hey, if we're going to go for it, we're going to go big. And they're pushing for bills that, again, are far more comprehensive and ban far more of our firearms than the yesteryear's version of the AW ban ever would. So it's critical we can't understand how these Dems are playing. They're not just sitting this 2-year cycle out. The Democrats have no control right now, at least numerically speaking, in the House, in the Senate, or in the White House. But they're not sitting this 2-year cycle out. They're pushing for major gun control bills in Congress and certainly in state capitals across the country. Could the GoSafe Act pass right now in America after a mass shooting? I don't know. But the point is, this is coming in the future. This is the agenda for the Democrats in blue state capitals. It is the agenda in Congress. And when these people ever get control again, this is the kind of fight we'll be fighting in the gun rights community. So it's critical that right now, when they don't have control of the chamber, that we hammer away at this bill. I'm going to be very clear to all the gun owners watching this right now in blue America. You do not have the luxury of just saying, John Ossoff is a commie, or Chuck Schumer is a commie, or Dick Durbin is a commie. We know they're commies. But these commies are concerned, and they know that if there's too much pressure on this issue, they may lose more members in November of 2026. That's why they're using these safer sounding names. They're concerned about the blowback. So hammer them. Make sure they know in these blue states there will be blowback. You will pay a price. We will go after you with everything we've got at election times. If you're in a blue state, do not check out. Hit the link below, sign your petition, make your voice heard so the Democrats can know exactly how they're not fooling us with phrases like the GoSAFE Act. If you're in a red state, you also can't sit this one out assuming that Chuck Grassley or fill a name, your red state senator is going to do the right thing. They probably will. They might. We hope they do. But they didn't a couple years ago when Joe Biden was in the White House. We had Republicans who voted for Biden's red flag gun seizure bill. Republicans voted for the assault weapons ban in the House just 2 or 3 years ago. We can't take anything for granted. There's no margin for error here, especially after a mass shooting, which of course happens the way it seems on a regular basis. We could definitely see Republicans falter again and support the Democrats' attempts to pass gun control. So do your part, guys. Hit that link, sign your petition, get loud, make your voice heard, and make sure your friends, gun owners from your church, from your job, from your hunting club, whatever, see this video, are aware of the times we're living in right now, and get involved in this fight as well. Thanks, guys. More to come. Stay free. Hey, guys, MOFC is fighting hard to expand Second Amendment freedom to make sure our children's children have a right to keep and bear arms. Get involved in this fight today. Number 1, sign up for text alerts. Number 2, follow us on X. And number 3, like and subscribe for more content.